The legal definition of water power and water rights has to do with the water that flows down through the river at a regular rate, what is known as the natural run of the river. By law, you are not allowed to divert the natural run of the river so it deprives a downstream owner from the use of that water. You can use it, but you must return it to the canal, or to the river, which is essentially what the manufacturers did with their power canals. The alternative to natural run is reserved water, water that would be collected during times of flood, which most normally occur in the fall and the winter. The problem came because the canal engineers, who were really looking at transportation cross-country and not water power, chose to connect the Mashassack River and the Blackstone River. And by doing that, the flow of the Blackstone River downstream got diverted into the Mashassack River every time a canal boat locked through from one river valley into another. And as you know, the locks were quite sizable. That was a lot of cubic feet of water, about 5,000. That was water that was not going to pass over the dams in Valley Falls and Pawtucket and would not be available to turn the mill owners' water wheels. Naturally, they were very upset. Most concerned, particularly in the summertime, when, as we all know, the rains are scant and the evaporation is great and the river naturally runs low. If you're taking water out of an already low river, you may be spelling the difference between the ability to run your factory or to have it sit there dormant. The mill owners were convinced by the canal owners' argument that they would build reservoirs upstream, that they would raise the dams on existing ponds that now fed the river so that they would hold water in storage from the winter's floods that could then be released in the summer, that would keep up the level of the river and basically compensate for all that water that might get diverted out by the canal. And they agreed that the idea would work. And in fact, it did work, but not as smoothly as the canal owners would have liked. The problem really came unhinged in 1833, a year after the canal had its most successful year to date and had posted $18,000 in tolls, big increase from the previous years. Unfortunately, 1833 was one of those droughts that comes every so often, and the river was running exceedingly low. The mill owners noticed a sharp drop-off in their water power supply. They complained to the courts, and the courts found that indeed the canal company had not maintained their reservoirs in the manner that they said they would. The levels were much lower than what they had promised, and in effect supported the mill owners' claims, and I believe there were over 200 claims lodged against the canal, all of which they were found guilty of. The canal faced not only a drop in tolls that year, but serious legal costs as well.